look fat.
We safe here?
Hey, fuck y'all!
Dan Murphy, you're fresh back from Paris, mate. Can you tell me...
I would not say fresh.
Well, okay. Can you tell me why, though? Why did you go to Paris?
You know what, Adam? I went to play a little game called Watch Dogs 2. It's a weird one, old Watch Dogs. You know, everyone thinks it's going to have the Assassin's Creed 2 effect. The second one will be better than the drab opener that showed potential but never really hit the right notes. And they might be right, you know, Adam.
Okay, well, really? I mean, I didn't hate Watch Dogs. I just found it didn't compel me to ever... I played a couple of hours and I was like, yeah,
I
okay,
really enjoyed
finish.
the concept, but Aiden Pearce is probably one of the worst video game characters ever.
Yep.
There
was so much wrong with his character. Like, so much wrong with his character.
Yeah.
But that is something, hopefully, you can tell me... I mean, you can't really go into much story detail anyway, but from what you played, does this new character seem less of an asshole?
Yeah. I'm doing an article, planning on, and a video, at least, called 10 Things We've Learned About Watch Dogs. And the first one is Marcus is sound. Marcus Holloway is your protagonist this week, and he's a sound bloke. It's weird, he seems like his mates are all bellends, apart from this one girl. This one girl seems alright, but he's got, like, you would have seen Wrench, the guy who has a mask on and emotes with a TV screen. It's a very strange setup. I'm scared that all his mates are going to be knobheads. So there's Wrench, who dresses up as a robot. There is a guy who seems a bit paranoid. He seems like the Elliot Alderson of the group, who, if you watch Mr. Robot, you shall know all about that. There's a girl who sounds just like Darlene from Mr. Robot, etc., etc.
Is this game Mr. Robot the game? Because I only started watching Mr. Robot recently, and I've literally binge watched it, and all I could think about is why didn't Watch Dogs? Why wasn't it this? Why didn't they? I mean, I know it didn't exist at the time, but like, why wasn't this what Watch Dogs is? What is it?
Well, Watch Dogs came out first. The first Watch Dogs came out 2 years before Mr. Robot, and obviously
but I mean, is why didn't they make this? Like, why did someone else make this when they had it?
Because
they had, this concept.
It's interesting. I think it's because Elliot, the main character in Mr. Robot, is not a fighter in any way. Well, he is, but
true.
He himself, his own persona. It's hard to talk about Mr. Robot. He's not exactly a physical person who does a lot of fighting. He does all his fighting.
He's an introvert. He's anxiety riddled.
Yeah. He does his fighting with his keyboards, which you can't really make.
He's a keyboard warrior, Dan.
Exactly, fucking brilliant. He can't really make. That's the tagline for the review. He can't make.
It is, yeah. Actually,
he can't really go into battle, which you can't really do in a game because it's not really as fun unless it's being it's not a AAA multi. Open world game, is it?
No, it's not. It's a directed television show with a strict narrative.
Watch Dogs 2 is obviously taking. I think it's clearly taken a lot of inspiration from Mr. Robot. For a start,
this is good. This is a good thing to hear.
For a start, the woman who talks in the trailer, which would have gone up on today, if this is the 23rd, I had to literally, as she started speaking, I had to check IMDb to make sure it wasn't the voice actor from Mr. Robot because it sounded just like her. The main villain sounds like Tyrell Wellick from Mr. Robot, who again is one of the main villains in Mr. Robot, and they're definitely drawn inspirations. I asked the creative director about this, and they said Watch Dogs is Mr. Robot's a great show. Apparently, there was a reference to Watch Dogs in Mr. Robot season 1, so stuff like that. So there's definitely ideas being taken as stuff like. So the premise of Watch Dogs 2 is basically it's 3 years after the first game. It's 3 years further in the future.
Yep.
And it's very similar plot-wise to Mr. Robot. So Mr. Robot Season 1, spoilers, something goes down and a group of hackers try and change the world, and then in Season 2 it doesn't really work. This is what Watch Dogs is. So Watch Dogs 1, you do this hack to try and stop this smart city, Chicago, to stop the DCOS, or whatever they're called, the evil corporation.
DSEC?
Yeah, oh no, you are DedSec, it's DSOC or something like that, ESOC maybe. And you win, but now 3 years later they're stronger than ever. They have pretty much every major city in America is a smart city, everything's connected, which therefore means everyone's spied on, even through toys, through TVs, through laptops, everything's spied on. And there's really interesting ideas like, so spies in the technology you have. So if you buy a pizza delivery
Yeah.
The more pizza deliveries a person in this society gets, the higher their insurance goes up.
Because they're eating fatty foods that will give them high cholesterol.
So the insurance companies are selling or they're buying information off these spies who are then giving something back.
It kind of sounds like that episode of last season's South Park with the ads becoming sentient and taking over the world.
Yes, there's some very interesting.
You're kind of exciting me, Dan, and I'm a little bit scared because I don't want to fall for this
weird
again.
One. There's some really interesting ideas. Like I said, a lot of it is quite clear. A lot of it's Orwellian, obviously. There's literally Big Brother has little brothers now who are all spying on you. That's
sounds like 1984, the game, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. And then
okay, that's good. This is also good.
Yeah, it seems like they're drawing a lot on the narrative strings of Mr. Robot, but then that is where my issue comes in, and it's the same thing that happens in the first game. The mechanics of the game really heavily contradict the narrative. So in the game you can hack anyone, because the hacking there's a lot more options now. So if you hack a person's phone or whatever, get all the personal information, then you have the option to either nick the money, which isn't very nice. You can make the phone ring or listen to the conversation, and then you can either forge evidence to the police and get them arrested for anything.
Wow. Okay.
No matter what they are, or you can give evidence to the local gang and get them hit. And you can do this
Jesus
to anyone,
Christ.
absolutely anyone you want, and it's a cool idea, and it can lead to good mischief that you can create. So I found a game developer in the game, and he got killed straight away.
Obviously,
yeah. But I just don't get how you can. The story is saying we're Robin Hood. We want to get rid of all this privacy, power to the people, stop them spying on us. But then you're able to just nick anyone's money for your new hats and stuff.
But is that not you choosing to do those things?
Well, it is, but you're giving me the option. It's weird.
But that's not.
And I think
that's
it'd
not
be
on
better,
them though. That's on you still.
I think.
Yeah.
Personally, I think it'd be better if you hack someone, and if you happen to find someone who's a criminal, you can then get them done. Or if you happen to find an actual gangster who's betrayed them,
maybe
or whatever.
Can you not then? Because it sounds like what you're describing is Infamous. Did you ever play Infamous? The way that basically you're a good guy if you help people, and you're a bad guy if you kill people, and it sounds kind of like. I mean, I'm not saying there's a morality system in this, but it sounds like. If you decide to go killing people because you want the bad powers, then that's kind of on you that you chose to do that.
Yeah, I suppose, but I feel like it's that wanky.
It sounds like you want a more directed narrative.
Maybe a little bit. It's that wanky term, Ludo narrative
dissonance.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of that. And I feel like it does. Your actions heavily contrast the narrative.
But then,
sometimes.
hang on. The thing is, I can go with you on that. But then, is it more fun to do the bad things? I know you're gonna, again, in fairness, to you, you're not. This isn't the way you will play the game. You are at a preview event, so you're like, well, I need to try this shit out because I need to talk about what you can do. So if you were sat down playing this for review or for your own fun, imagine that doing the game for fun. But you're sat down playing the game just in your spare time. You probably don't do those things.
No, I did
in the
stop
same way
doing
that in
it
Infamous.
after I'd got it. After I'd tested it and realised that you could do it to anyone. I was like, okay. Because at first when I first did it, I thought, I found someone who is suspicious of assaulting the partner. That's cool. But then I gradually realised
the fact you found it is cool, not that. Yeah. But then again, that's that thing of Infamous where you might. But then if you're playing it as yourself, you kind of put yourself upon the character. Most people do, and you don't steal their money. Well, maybe you steal their money, but you don't kill them or get them arrested falsely. The important thing is for me, and you may not be able to answer this because I don't know if you would have played enough of it, is it less fun if you don't? If you play it as a nice guy and you don't get people whacked and you don't, is it less fun?
Well, I guess you can still do it. So I did it. I was doing a bit of a story mission in the game, which I won't delve into, but I felt like the story missions themselves didn't, and they dropped me 4 hours into the game or so I didn't have much context of what was going on. But I don't think the missions explain themselves very well. I was getting stuck a few times. I didn't really know what my objective was. There was weird markers all over the show. I had no idea what I was really doing.
Right.
And so at one point, there's this building, and I called the gang and got them to come in to kill the security guards. And that worked well for me. I managed to then sneak in and do the mission finally. So it's stuff like you can still use it in missions, and that makes it a lot better. But I feel, sometimes I don't know. You might be right. It might just be me. And if you don't do that, then it's not really an issue. But
Well, it's a
and I knew
massive
that was
issue if not doing it is not fun. If it's more fun to be a bad guy, then that's a big narrative issue because you don't want to do that.
And it's the best way to get money. It's more like it's the easiest way to get money to just rob like cancer patients of all they have, and you can't really. I'd love the option to be able to give people money. You just hack them and give them
hack money into their account. Yeah.
Like
maybe that's
like
in there though. Maybe it's just
hopefully,
something we haven't seen
stuff
yet.
like that where you are Robin Hood, like you
it kind of seems obvious. Like, why wouldn't it be?
It's a weird one, you know. It wasn't when I played. I don't think so, but that would be a cool option. But elsewhere, San Francisco, you know, they've swapped the drab, rainy Chicago, which I quite like the countryside areas and stuff, but the city itself was pretty forgettable. And they replaced it with a sunny San Francisco, and I think they've nailed it.
It looks gorgeous from what I've seen.
Never been to San Francisco, but from what I've seen in films, from what you hear, you know, it's the tech capital of the world. Well, Silicon Valley is. Mm-hmm. It's it's all together. I feel like it's absolutely nailed my expectations of what San Francisco is. So the hills, those particular types of houses on the hills, the bridges, obviously, Chinatown or Japantown, whatever they have over there. You know, weird bars, loads of coffee shops, this type of thing, wide streets. I feel like they've really nailed, and then the countryside above it, which is where all the rich people live and stuff like that. I feel like almost GTA 5-esque nailed the feel of the city. Maybe not, they might not have it 100% accurate or whatever, but they absolutely have nailed my expectations of it. And it's one of the most well-realised worlds I've ever been in, actually. I loved it. I saw when I first went into the game, I was in a park, loads of people sitting around, walking their dogs, playing a guitar, chilling out, having a cig in the park, loving life. And I just look into the corner and there's a police chase happening. I think there was a car crash or something, someone's trying to run away, and a policeman was trying to chase him. Just in the middle of nothing to do with me, I was just a bystander. And then later on in the game, I was driving down the street and I saw like a food place. I was like, alright, I'll go and see what the crack is. Went inside and there was an accordion playing. I was like, that sounds cool. I went to the back of the restaurant and there was a guy playing the accordion. And in Watch Dogs 2, you have different emotes, so you can greet people, insult people. Whenever anyone ran me over, like told them fuck off and stuff like that. And then there's one for dancing. So this guy's playing the accordion and they're dancing, and the people in the restaurant start like cheering and telling me, encouraging me to go on. So it's a well-realised world that you can actually interact with, rather for at a deeper level than just shooting it, and I really appreciate that.
I mean, from reading what you've written and watching the footage for this very video, I'm cautiously excited. Like, it's one of those games where, because of the first one, I refuse to let myself fully get on the hype train, but I'm also kind of ready for that big open world game, and obviously this year it's between this Watch Dogs 2 and Mafia 3, and they both strike me as quite different. I mean, they couldn't be more different in terms of one's set in the future and one's in the past.
Yeah, I am torn, I must say.
I kind of want to play both, and to be honest with you, we haven't had much opportunity to play Mafia 3. Mm-hmm. Even at E3, it was kind of like, you can watch it. Well, great. Well, you've played a good 2.5 to 3 hours of Watch Dogs 2.
It's good.
And what you've said, I like what I've heard. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot better than the first one. As we was on about earlier with Marcus Holloway, the playable character in this game, he's just a lot more likeable. He has more energy.
Just likeable,
He's young and has these, grand ideas of what he wants to do in the world, and he has he's a very talented hacker and all this, but he's a little bit naive as well. You get the impression, so you can imagine how that will go down, especially when in the trailer it seems as if Marcus has a relationship with the main bad, who's actually called Douches.
Right.
Actually called Douche. And I imagine if they have a nice relationship, like in Mr. Robot between Elliot and Tyrell, I reckon that could be a cool little story narrative. I am looking forward to it. Elsewhere, there's stuff like, I feel like some of the shooting and the parkour needs a little bit more refinement. There's about 2 months till release. I felt shooting was okay. It was fine. It might have been, it was early in the game. I might have had a shit weapon and it wasn't exactly the best. And the parkour, you sprint by holding the left stick in, and then you jump over things by pressing R2. That did feel a bit clunky, I must say. I hope it's refined a bit.
I think they have to make that different to Assassin's Creed, because otherwise people will just call it Assassin's Creed.
You can't climb like buildings and shit, but it's just for like running over, like climbing up like I don't know, like just random objects that have been left that are basically a staircase for it. And I feel like they look so smooth on the trailer. I just hope that it feels a lot smoother by the time the game comes out. Driving's been improved a lot though, and
Good.
I like how Watch Dogs looks driving, because shit cars drive like the shit cars. They're slow, they're cumbersome, and then you get in a motorbike or in a sports car and you feel that speed. Like it's almost like a racing game, because you have a boost on literally any vehicle you want, and the world flies by while you're on it. It's quite something. But yeah, it's looking good. Watch Dogs 2. Another thing that apart from the well realised world and how I feel like it's a game you could just people watching. You set up stuff and there's such, as you said, with how you can call police and gangs on each other and stuff like that. There's a lot of possibilities to create your own mischief and just watch it unfold. I really like how the parallels it's taken from popular culture. So how do I word this? So Marcus Holloway is a black character and stuff, and you can tell that he's influenced by the likes of Kanye West and that type of culture, and then the clothes that you can buy in the game really reflect that. So it's like the baggy pants that come down to like your knees, the big t-shirts, the big hoodies, the glasses, the really stylish clothes. And this is the one game that I can actually see myself going to the shops regularly and getting different clothes, because you'll see in the footage that you're watching, no doubt. And I had 2 different outfits. I had my starter outfit, and then I went and got some new threads, and I thought I just looked like cool and different, quite distinctive. I feel like it's really the music they use on the radio stations, all the street art, loads of that type of stuff. I feel like they're really blending culture into this sci-fi fictional world quite well. And yeah, I'm excited. I feel like some refinements and tweaks still need to be made, and no doubt they will be, but I'm cautiously optimistic. The only real issue is that aside from Marcus, who is like the one normal person in a hurricane of fucking weirdos, I feel like a lot of his mates might be grating and that type of stuff, if you get my meaning.
Well, I mean, I guess we'll find out nearer the time, because I don't think this will be delayed now, not now South Park has. But you can read an awful lot more on Watch Dogs 2 from Dan's very own hand, and hopefully we'll have some more videos for you nearer the time it comes out, obviously, and maybe even some more from this preview trip. You can follow Dan at Mabrowski on Twitter. You'll see that in the video anyway. And obviously at GodisaGeek. Make sure you go to GodisaGeek.com to read all those lovely impressions. Dan, thanks for your time.
No worries.
And bye-bye for now.